it is Halloween season, so of course I enlisted my favorite assistant in the world to zombify him, to do a quick simple tutorial using a couple of my favorite products, one being the Zombieskin because everybody keeps asking me about it. So I'm sure you guys will get a kick out of this. This is, can you tell me what it is, anybody? It's a toilet seat cover, and this particular material is pretty good for making some type of rotting flesh because it's thin and it dries relatively quickly. The thicker that you go with any paper product to create that kind of effect, then the longer it takes. I'm also going to be using a product called Zombieskin. This was first premiered during Athena's live class on FABATv, and it's an ammonia-free latex, and it's kind of a little bit more of a fluffier consistency than your typical liquid latex. It also doesn't have the same intense smell, so it's a good product. It's easy to work with, and I'll show you guys. I added a little brown color to it, or flesh tone. It normally comes white, it dries clear, but I added a little bit of a brown color to make it this color so that it would be easy to blend in. I'm also going to be using some stage blood and stipple sponge, and these are just things to make it faster and easier. So I'm going to be using this paper to create kind of like the lifted pieces, which are going to be in this area right here, because your eyes, when you're kind of zombie-ish, are sunken in. So I'm going to first apply down the paper. We're going to build this area up right here, and then create a little bit more of the rotting flesh effects in different areas. So anywhere that you want to put down your paper and build up, you're going to want to put down a little bit of spirit gum. So I'll first lay down the spirit gum in just certain areas because I'm going to stick the paper to it. Put down one layer right here, and I'm going to stick that on there just like that. And then I'm also going to put some right underneath his cheeks right here. You're going to want to put this down relatively quickly so that you are creating a faster effect. Now again, this paper is thinner, so it's going to stick right to the spirit gum and in this area. So I'm just sticking it on his skin right here, and you can seal down some of this. I'll put a couple of layers down because I want to be able to rip it up. Now, in order for you to make the eyebrow or this area appear a little bit more protruding, then what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to actually build it out. And you can do that using wax, you can do that using silicone. There's a couple of reasons why you would do either one. Tune in for the live class on October 16th and you'll find out which medium would work for you. But I'm going to just simply take this paper and I'm just going to kind of crumple it up, make it into that shape that I'm looking for because it's nice and light, it's easy to cover up, and this is relatively fast. So I'm just kind of molding it into the shape that I want, that I'm going to put over his eyebrow here, and I am going to have to apply it as well with spirit gum so that it really sticks into place. So this is going to be good for his eyebrows because it's going to wax his eyebrows. So I'm just going to stick this right on here and hold it into place so that I get a little bit more of a protrusion. Now what I'm going to use the Zombieskin to kind of seal the edges and create a little bit more of a blend edge. So I'm going to be using this brush, and I just pick up a little bit of this Zombieskin. You don't have to do anything to prep it. And then I'm going to just kind of brush it over the edges so that I'm sealing them down. And because I already am using, or I added a little bit of color to it, it already has that nice flesh effect, so I won't have to. And I'm making sure to get it in his hair so that it's even harder to come off. So all I'm doing is just using it on the edges, and anywhere that it's super thick on the edges, you're going to want to use a little bit more spirit gum to kind of seal them down, just like right inside of there. So I'm just going on the edges. I'm just going to continue smoothing out those edges. Now that some of these sections are dry right in here, because I want them to appear as if they're kind of going to be splitting and kind of falling off of his face, I'm just going to put another layer down. So I'm just going to add a little bit more of this spirit gum in the areas that I want to put a second layer down. And these are thin layers, remember that. So I'm not going too heavy on the paper. So I'm just going to lay that right on top of here as well. Right on top. So now I'm just going to go in and I'm going to start applying actual paint. So I'm picking up this tone, this color. It is called, I believe it's called Flesh. It's from the Wolf, and I just picked it up on a little bit. I loaded my sponge up, got it wet, got it damp. Now I'm rubbing it over the surface, and I'm going to pick it up so that I can apply a little bit of a flesh color to some of the areas, like inside of here and right over the edges of the paper. Right inside of here as well. Anywhere where there's too much white showing, I'm just kind of going over it. So now let's focus on adding the areas that need to be a little bit more sunken in. So in the areas like the corner of his eyes, which are going to be the most drastically sunken, I'm going to add and start off with a little bit of black on my sponge. And I'm going to go right into the socket. You want to kind of get right underneath this area. And I'm just kind of blending it out underneath the eye, right inside of there. And even though it's a little bit dark and black, I'm going to go in the opposite side. I'm going to go in with a little bit of a burgundy. So I'm just taking my sponge, picking up the burgundy, and then I'm just going to go directly over the black, using the black as a background, and now the burgundy went inside of it. And then I'm going to add my burgundy just in a few areas, especially under the areas that are going to be kind of rotting more than anything else. And in between, in the areas where I have this, where I put the paper down, I'm just going to pinch it, and I'm going to just kind of almost pick it off a little bit without trying to hurt him too much. I'm just kind of lifting up the edges of the paper where I put in multiple layers. I was going in some of these areas where I tore the paper, and inside of those areas we're going to just take our brush and pick up a little bit of red and pick up a little bit of this burgundy, and I'm going to go right inside of those sections, kind of add this kind of underskin where it's just really rotting and flesh and decayed right inside of there. So I'm going in these little holes that I've torn up, kind of fit it right inside of there, make it look like the skin is really decaying right in that area. From right above his mouth and in certain areas, I'm picking up kind of an older brush that's a little bit worn, and I'm just getting a very thin layer of black, almost like just a smoky shade of black. And we're just going to create a little bit more depth by just going in and creating these hollow points. So I'm just kind of shading, making it, and pulling it. And you don't want them to be perfect. You want them just to kind of be areas that are sunken in, kind of dead on the face. So I'm just kind of bringing in these dead areas. So I'm just going to point inside of my wounds, and I'm just adding a little bit of shadow to them. Give them that effect that they really are rotting flesh. And take a little bit more of the black, and I'm going to kind of define his brow area right in here. So I'm going to just kind of bring it up and bring it right underneath the eye here, kind of create a little bit more of those wear lines. And then right along, since we're doing kind of more of half of his face as a zombie, I'm just going to create this border by just pressing and dragging my brush, and we'll kind of blend it out. I'm going to tap it with my finger, blend it out along that edge by just pulling it, and we're going to repeat this step using our red. go straight down, kind of just drag, blend it out. So I added a little bit of the Fab Plum, add a little bit of red with it, and I'm going to go right along the edge here. And this, I left it to be a little bit more of a liquefied consistency because I wanted to kind of just bring it down and be able to splatter it and blend it out. Another really cool product is called Fresh Scratch Blood from Krylon. And if you look at the consistency of it, it kind of looks like sorbet. But the cool part about it is it does give the effect of fresh scratch blood, and then it stays put, it dries. Just going to kind of pick up a little bit on my sponge, and I'm just going to drag it out right here along this area, give it that infected look right inside of this area. So it also will, if you can see how it's kind of just hanging out there, it's so thick that it's not going to kind of stick it right inside of there, inside of here. Definitely right underneath the nose.
That's right in my nose.
Right in his nose. He doesn't need his nose. Just kidding. Alright, so when you're working, if you're working in a haunted house or if you're working on kids and you don't want to get a lot of stage blood on their clothes because some of them do stain, it is important to have some sort of cape for them. So I put my stage blood inside of the lid and I'm just kind of stippling it on. And the thinner the stage blood, the more it's going to actually run. So you want to make sure that you're doing a good job of noting which one you're using so that you don't have to worry about it running everywhere. So I'm just kind of dragging it up from his lips to kind of give his mouth that scraped effect. So I'm just going right up, giving it this scrape right inside of there. Bring it down. I'm going to pick up a little bit more of my red and try to liquefy it, and I'm going to go right underneath his eye. Kind of give it that blood, dripping blood effect. Make it look like his eye is bleeding. And this wolf red really does the trick when you do that. So I'm just going to kind of pull it in those areas. And then, all right guys, I hope that you enjoyed kind of zombifying my assistant and my Andrew. I'm going to zoom in so you guys can see how you can use something as simple as just a little bit of spirit gum. The Zombieskin can make it super fast and easy to be able to create these bulges and these rotting flesh areas. So thank you guys for tuning in.